It's time to ask ourselves that wonderful question again: where in the world would we use the find helper in kind of a practical sense, right? Certainly looking through an array, finding a particular record seems like something we need to do pretty often, but what might be a very realistic situation in which we would need to use this helper? So let's take a look at a kind of a mock-up of a simple website right here. So I've got 2 pages of a single website put together. On the left-hand side, we are at an address of forum.com/posts. And on the right-hand side, we're at forum.com/posts/45. And so you'll notice that on the left-hand side, I've got kind of like a list of different posts that a user could click here. So maybe this is like a list of blog posts or a forum or something like that. And then when a user clicks on a very single post, like say this one right here, they're taken to a detail screen for that single post. You'll notice that the 45 up here is meant to indicate the ID of the post that the user is looking at. So this might be the post with ID 45 right here. And so this would really be a fantastic use case of using the find helper. I might take the 45 in the URL up here, look at my big list of posts, and find the post with the ID of 45. This is actually a practice that's very common in single-page web applications, where we might have an ID in our URL, we might have a big list of resources already loaded in memory that we've retrieved off the server or something like that, and we'll say, okay, based on the URL, like the URL alone, I need to find the post with ID 45. And so again, you can imagine the find helper would look something like, look at all my list of posts, find the post with ID 45. So just to be really clear, we've got like the address up here, we've got 45 on the end, we want the ID with 45. We might have this array of posts, so here's a bunch of objects, each one has an ID and a title, and we might walk through that thing and find the post with the ID of 45 in this case. So again, this would be a very common use case of using the find helper beyond just the very common, kind of more obvious explanation of, yeah, I use it to find something in an array. Well, what's a practical use case of finding something in an array? It would be something like deciding what resource we want to show on the screen at any given time. Okay, now that we've gone over the find helper a little bit, let's work on some exercises in the next section.